In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the fantastic new PressCut multi-layer dies. This is the circle design to make this beautiful sort of background here with all the different layers in it. And I'm sorry, the mirror card is going to flash a little bit, but I love the way you've got the silver to the white to the red to the black, and then we've just framed it. It really is completely different and a beautiful way to do it. And there's loads of things you can do with this die. This is the first basic way to use them. So to talk you through the dies in the set, you actually get A, B and C. So layer A is quite plain and has the larger circles. Layer B has a smaller circumference circle than the first set. So if I lay that one over, you can see there, it fits over. But on layer B, you've got this single line of stitch detail so that you can make beautiful cards just with that die. And then layer C is the same again. The circles, again, are smaller than they are in the main die set, but again this time you get a double layer of the stitch detail, again so that you get a different look from this background than perhaps one of the single plain circle ones. So this is how we use all three in combination to make the multi-layered background, and eventually it will give you 4 layers. 3 dies with a backing is 4 layers. So I'm going to take a piece of card, and what I tend to do is to start with the darkest card at the top. It's just my habit. You can do it any way you want, but that way you get them going in. So I've chosen some of the black Crafts 2 linen card here. The linen textured card is beautiful for this because it cuts absolutely beautifully, but you get all that stitch detail showing really well as it's a 240 GSM card. And the only thing to be careful of is to make sure, certainly if you're doing a long piece or you're extending, that you get them in the right order. So the top of the die is the circle, smaller, circle, smaller, circle. Down the side, you have the larger circle, larger, medium, small, medium, larger. You can do that anyway, but you want to make sure that you get those circles lined up right in each time. So all we need to do is to cut this through. So I'm simply going to put this straight onto a piece of the black linen card, and we'll run this through my die cutting machine, and I'll show you the cut in a second. This die has now cut, so I'm just take this one, take the pot plate off, take out, and you'll see there really easily, even though this was in the center of the machine, I've got all of the pieces come out really, really cleanly. I get those beautiful crisp circles there. If I bring a piece of white card in, you'll be able to see there all of those in that. Now don't throw away these are perfect circles, so it's been hand drawn, but I made sure that each circle was the right size, so I always save all of these because they make brilliant circles for using for backgrounds for other cards, and I'll be showing you another demo a little bit later how we can actually use those as well. So let's just move our plates out of the way. Now what we would do is we would simply repeat this process with 2 other colours. So I would take the B die, this time I've gone with red. You can see here I've already cut that, so I've got that. And then we do exactly the same with the next die, which is the C, with a piece of white. And if you can see here, this is what I was actually saying earlier about making sure that you've got things in the right order, because the white there, the pattern doesn't run in the same way on the card. So you want to make sure, certainly if you're doing in a long card, that you get that right. So all we're going to do, we'll just move those slightly out of the way. So first of all, we need to put a backing onto this. So I've already taken and I've cut a square. I don't like to waste card, so I've taken a square of silver out from the frame that I've made. And I'm just going to make sure that every piece has been pricked out. You've got some really little circles on here, so we'll get those out. And again, you can foam mount this or you can flat mount it. For speed on this demonstration, I'm going to be flat mounting it. In the original, I foam mounted it. But the great thing about these dies is that the way they've been designed, even if you flat mount this, you'll actually see that you've got that definition. It looks as if it's thick when it isn't. So I'm going to take that and just pop it straight down onto my silver layer. So first of all, straight away, I've got 2 layers there, really, really simply. Let's get rid of that excess glue. The next layer will be red. So I'm going to do the same again and just put glue on to the red one. You could use a spray glue if you want to. I'm just using a little bit. And again, the pattern is running here, circle, circle, circle. So where there's 5, find the 5 on your die cut piece and just line them up. And to help you, there is the stitch detail. So you can really make sure you get those nice and straight. So there I go from red to white to silver. And my final layer then is the black. So I'm just going to trim this one out as I'm making a square. And again, a little bit of glue on the back. And this one will be that slight bit bigger. So this is the one where if you're using foam tape, you need to be that little bit more careful. So again, find your 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this then fits over the top of the red. Make sure I get that right. Here's me going with my 5 and then putting it on the wrong way. And you can see there, it fits that way exactly. Let's just rotate it around and make sure. There we go. So you will find there are different ways this works. There's literally just keep rotating it around until you've got it in the right place. Count the 5, but you may find as a show, if I take this off, I can show you here. If I go the other way, it's not quite as right. So this is how they were designed. I drew them, and I drew them by hand to make sure that they were individual rather than just machine made. So there we've got our simple background, which looks really deep, but of course is completely flat. I'm now going to completely ruin that by adding a frame on. So I've just used a combination here of the PressCut stitch dot squares and the plain squares. And these were sized exactly to match with this die, and these dies were sized exactly to match with it. So there's all the layers that you need in there. And all I'm going to do is then just simply frame my piece, pick it up. So I've got black to red to white to silver, black to red to white to silver. It almost sounds like a poem. Onto a large 8x8 card blank. And we're completed. And you could leave that as that, put a simple sentiment on it, put some flowers on, put some leaves on, whatever you want to. But really, really simple but effective, and a really deep looking card that's completely flat.